What is up, everybody? I'm NoLucksGiven, and in this video we are going to talk about luck in Storybook Brawl. In strategy games, the question always comes up, especially in card games, is it more an expression of skill or luck? Is it the skill to be able to predict what your opponent is going to do, to bluff, to have the knowledge to understand the complex strategies? Or is it just luck of the draw? And especially with all of the randomness that happens in Storybook Brawl, a lot of it can feel like luck. However, I think that Storybook Brawl is a uniquely and extremely fun game because skill expression comes down to your ability to get lucky. And I don't just mean, are you a lucky person? If you roll a die, is it going to come up as a 20? But rather, Storybook Brawl is an exercise in seeing how many die you are able to roll. And this is an important distinction because I think at its heart, Storybook Brawl is about finding ways to potentially get lucky. And if you do get lucky, figuring out how to take that advantage and push yourself forwards, finding additional ways to get lucky in the future. We are going to take a look at a game in this video as well, and we're going to be taking a look at a Wonder Waddle game. And Wonder Waddle, generally considered one of the most powerful heroes in Storybook Brawl. But I think Wonder Waddle is also one of the luckiest heroes, because Wonder Waddle has the chance to flip so many different coins and pursue so many different angles. Now, part of that flexibility is certainly what makes Wonder Waddle powerful, but also what can make Wonder Waddle powerful is the ability to pursue different strategies. And that sounds like I'm saying the same thing, but it's not if you never roll the die to try to get lucky. So this game is kind of going in with that concept in mind. Where can we find angles to try to get lucky? And we've got Shard of the Ice Queen plus Rainbow Unicorn. And we wind up getting a Mad Mim. Now, I might have liked to get a Black Cat or a Billy Goat there, but Mad Mim is pretty good. Mad Mim lines up well with Black Cat, certainly better than Black Cat plus Unicorn, and is going to give us a pretty strong option for turn 2. We can just play Mad Mim plus Black Cat, and we'll probably win our fight. So that is kind of the idea. Unfortunately, we are going to lose our first fight of the game to this goat. And then we get the chance to pursue some more randomness. I don't typically like Cinderella on Wonder Waddle, but when it can flip over a Lonely Prince into a Frog Prince, seems like a pretty good pickup to me. I will also be able to cast a Genie's Wish, which is kind of random, into a For Glory, which is additional randomness. But that Genie's Wish could have also been a Roll the Die, speaking of randomness, or a Shrink Ray, something like that to potentially help us push our advantage into the game. We already have this one for Mad Mim plus the potential Black Cat that will potentially get us ahead in the future, but things are looking good, and this combat against Loki goes very, very well. We're able to win the For Glory, and now we get an extra unit for turn 3. So we've got this Crafty, and we've also got this Frog Prince plus Black Cat, which I'll probably take here just to be strong. Now what's interesting is we do have this Blind Mouse as well, and one of the first ways that Wonder Waddle can get lucky, the most basic thing that Wonder Waddle can use to get lucky in the early game is Blind Mouse pairs. And I am even going to try to just get a little bit luckier on the rank up turn. I feel like the 2/2 isn't going to help us too much, and that maybe I might be able to do something with this For Glory spell. So we'll see how that works out. It's also just helpful to tick down the Cindy. That's the other reason to cast it here, because now Cindy only needs one more spell. Unfortunately, my opponent is playing Earthquake, so that is a little bit unfortunate, but we do still walk away with a win. So pretty sweet stuff there. Don't know how that one happened, but I'll take it. We get a free level 3 unit, and that is going to be an Evil Witch. And then we also have True Love's Kiss, which we can cast on Cinderella, but I feel like I already have to pause a little bit. So the first way that I typically like to press my luck with Wonder Waddle, like I said, is that 3 blind mice or 2 blind mice triple upgrade to try to get an early tier 4 treasure. Beyond that, there is a lot of really powerful stuff that Wonder Waddle can do that just involves pairing up some animals. If we can get a pair of frog princes, we've got a 10-10 that cost us so much less than the rest of the lobby, and we get a treasure, or we can skip to boot. So all of that is really strong, and I would say that that is strategy 2 on Wonder Waddle. The other thing, especially if we're strong, or if we can pick up some Wizards Familiars or some triples of tier 3 units, is going to be to pursue a hat ball strategy. So that is something that I'm always keeping in my mind when I'm playing Wonder Waddle, because it's one of the most powerful and fun strategies in the game, and it's pretty good. So here we are going to see a collection of treasures. We get a Queen of Hearts, and I don't think I'm really super excited about any of these treasures in particular, excuse me. So I'm gonna go ahead and skip on this one. And then I will go ahead and pick up the Kitty Cup Purse, because that's gonna help with the Queen of Hearts that we already have. And then I'm gonna wind up locking this shop, which is the exact same shop that we locked next turn. And the reason for that is I'm still trying to pursue the angle of 3 blind mice. If we can get a tier 4 treasure in one of the next 2 turns, that's still going to be really, really strong for us. It's not the crazy strength that you would get by having that treasure really early in the game, but still winds up being quite good. We are going to walk away from this one with a win and cracking my opponent's egg, so all of that is pretty good. Like I said, we are quite strong other than that first loss of the game, which that's just kind of random. We'll take this black cat here, and then I believe we find a Runestones, and I think Runestones is a fine pickup here. We've got the 3 blind mice in the shop, and then we also have the potential to triple any of our other tier 2 units, like the Wizard's Familiar or the Frog Prince, which would allow us to get a tier 3 treasure and potentially pursue that hat ball. But the thing that I think that I really want here is, because we do see this prized pig, I do want to try to get a triple of one of these units that I just named here. The Wizard's Familiar, the Frog Prince, the Pollywoggle, and the Blind Mouse. So I roll one more time before seeing another prized pig. I think that this one we can lock on to just to pick up. I didn't want to pick up the other one because we'd be wasting a gold, wasting that roll, and I felt like it would be good to just roll, get it out of the way, see what we can find. Now, when we don't find anything, I think it's fine to latch onto this prized pig here, and then we'll pick that up and see what other fun stuff we can find next turn with the Polywoggles and Blind Mouse and that kind of stuff. So kind of pursuing both angles at all times, and that's definitely going to be a theme throughout this game. We're going to be looking at different possible angles that we can pursue and trying to get lucky just across the board and seeing what happens. So here we go. Here is some justice back onto the Pied Piper. We hit them for some damage, and now we are leading this lobby, which is great. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a roll and look for one of these other puzzle pieces, and I'm more than happy to pick up a Frog Prince and a treasure map. Now that we have a treasure map, this is just an additional way that we could potentially get lucky. We could take the Ancient Sarcophagus, but we are more than strong enough with our current board, so I think that this is an easy treasure map pickup here, but I do at least want to consider my options. And the fact that I've got a Blind Mouse already means next turn I can roll a little bit, try to find a Blind Mouse. Then we've got a tier 6 treasure, and that's basically what I'm talking about in terms of trying to get lucky. Was previously thinking, okay, well, maybe we could find this hat ball, but then when I'm presented with treasure map, I start to think about other directions I could pull into. We haven't really found the Wizard's Familiars, And we haven't found the blind mouse yet, but we certainly could in the future and just get a big advantage over the rest of the lobby. You've seen some of my other videos recently where I have embiggening stone on like 4.0 or something like that. And that's what this game is looking like it might turn into. So those are all things that I'm constantly considering and constantly trying to get lucky with. And I think that that is just like a really important takeaway here from this game. That embiggening stone game didn't happen just by chance. It happened because I was trying to get lucky and eventually did. So here we see a donkey. That is not particularly impressive when we've got this blind mouse. I really want to try to double this blind mouse, but I also like polywoggle. This is another way that we could really get lucky. So I do want to consider that, and when this second polywoggle comes up, I have to take the bait here. We've got Coin of Sharon, which is kind of interesting, though Ring of Rage could really help just in terms of me actually slaying with this polywoggle this turn. And one of the reasons that this polywoggle is important and that I do decide to pick it up is because we are on 4.0. So this polywoggle will upgrade into a tier 5 unit and be decently strong for us. We also see that we've got the chance to pick up some more random options in the shop this turn. We've got the prized pig, which could give us a treasure. We've got polywoggle, which is another chance at an upgraded polywoggle, an upgraded undercosted unit ahead of the curve. And we've got this mix-a-whizzle. But for right now, I'm going to sell off the Wizard's Familiar and pick up the prized pig. I think I'm kind of off of this half-ball plan, and I will just take the cloak to better help the polywoggle slay. And at this point, I kind of don't really need to lock the shop. I could lock it just for that second polywoggle, but I'm just hoping that this polywoggle can get through. Unfortunately, it's not going to slay, and we get really, really unlucky in this combat. We have a few breakpoints here that we just barely miss on the the Gingerbread Knight, and then also on this donkey, just barely allowing both of them to survive. But we are still going to walk away with a win and killing our opponent's needle nose daggers. So not too shabby, but unfortunately we did not activate our polywoggle. So we gotta start thinking about ways that we can get lucky. And an 11-5 polywoggle I think is still pretty big. We're presented with an interesting choice here in the stag, because we could potentially try to get more tier 3 treasures, but I don't really want tier 3 treasures at this point. I really just want blind mouse to potentially try to get ahead with that. And when I see this XP spell, start to think about another direction that we could go in. Obviously, Wish Upon a Star has some luck involved, whether or not we win this brawl against the other lobby leader. And it's also really important because whether we win or lose next combat, we'll be on 5.0 next turn. And then we'll be able to slay with polywoggle and get an upgraded tier 6 unit. And we'll get that upgraded tier 6 unit on what is everybody else's 4.2. So I think that that is a really good strategy for that reason. And then, just to bet on myself, I am also going to sell my benched units, my blind mouse, and my upgraded prized pig to purchase this friendly spirit and put that in front of the Madman, just to give me a little bit more strength on the current board. And I think this ability to adapt and pivot and say, okay, we rolled for blind mouse a whole bunch of times, but that wasn't what got presented to us. Now we've got to pursue this totally different angle, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. Not to say that I'm like a genius at Storybook Brawl, but I think I'm okay, I'm pretty decent. That is going to be how you can use your skill expression to press your luck, and that is the whole point of this video. Fortunately, we don't win the combat, but we don't lose it either, so not too shabby. We will be able to put this polywoggle in and potentially grab ourselves an upgraded tier 6 unit here. And we can even make that more likely by picking up a Grim Soul, so that is a really wonderful pickup here. And we will have to backline the polywoggle. The board ordering gets a little bit awkward in this one, but I think that we can make it work, and I'm gonna try to do so. And I think I will reorganize this board a little bit more even, because our strength relies so much on this Queen of Hearts that I'm gonna wind up mixing it up a little bit like this, and we'll just frontline a Mad Mim. That is totally something that I'm not above if it means that we can play this stronger board and still play the Wicked Witch here. I think this is going to be our strongest board now, and we wind up getting 3 big pigs, which isn't that great for us. It's not a hugely powerful unit, but it is still something that we can work with here, and it is going to give us a more powerful board for right now. We do see that this Loki has also pressed their luck in some ways. They have got a Phoenix Feather right now, and unfortunately that is going to be enough to allow them to take us down, along with the Romeo and Juliet combination that they've got, and some decent breakpoints. So we're going to take 10 damage, but we are up 2 XP on the rest of the lobby, and we've got a tier 3 unit. So if we wind up playing against, or a tier 6 unit rather, if we wind up playing against somebody that isn't super lucky at this point in the game, we're going to be doing a lot better. And 25 health, I think, is still a pretty reasonable place to be. Now, one thing, there's really 2 other aspects to pressing your luck. And one is, okay, once you've found some ways to get lucky with this 3 big pigs, for instance, can you use that as some safety to say, okay, I'm in a good position right now. Maybe I can try to find some additional polywoggles and try to do it again and try to get lucky in a different way, or a pretty similar way in the case of another upgraded polywoggle. Running a little bit low on time here, so I think I just wind up skipping. Oh, okay, and then that's pretty smart actually, to skip and then sell 1 more unit to be able to put the donkey in. And this time I do wind up going with the front line of Queen of Hearts. Okay, no, I don't. Okay, that's much better. Great. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it in on time just with the timer ticking away. But this is going to work out great for us. And then we are still going to now have the strength of this 3 big pigs, though so does my opponent. And then we also are pursuing this other polywoggle angle. And we get a Grim Soul, or a Gumblegore rather, off of our Grim Soul, and that is going to be pretty good for us. Our pigs are also bigger than my opponent's pigs because we've got the Wicked Witch there, so that's pretty nice. And ultimately, this is going to be a pretty close combat, but it is going to be a loss. So we are going to take 5 damage, but it was 5 damage for the ability to have an upgraded Gumblegore, which isn't too shabby. And now, again, we are looking to see in what other ways can we get lucky, can we press our advantage, because we are decently strong here. And what I was going to get at is basically just eyeing up some more polywoggles once again. There are 2 ways that you can kind of have some flexibility that allows you to press your advantage in Storybook Brawl. One is using your health as a resource, and that's a pretty common, I don't want to say term, but it's a common concept from other games. The ability to use your life total, as long as you're not dead, you are going to be able to still win the game. You can win the game with 1 HP, or you can win the game with 40 HP. Both are going to give you the same amount of Stardust and rating. A win's a win. So trying to get a win in that way is totally respectable, and oftentimes is the correct play. Just making some room for this burning tree. This is going to be a trees game, by the way, but hopefully it is still interesting. And here you go, we have pressed our luck, and we have gotten a Neko Wood. But basically, I felt like, 2 turns ago we were at 35, right? And then we took 10 down to 25, and then we took 5 down to 20. But that's totally fine to take 15 damage and still be, here we are in 4th place. Now we're at like a pretty respectable hit points with everybody else in the lobby. We're going to take 9 more damage this turn, down to 11, but now we have really start to put some stuff together. You see we've got this Ashwood Elm now, so we've got the tree trifecta, the treefecta there of Ashwood Elm, Burning Tree, and Echowood. So that's really good, and that can certainly allow us to pursue some really strong stuff going into the later stages of this game. What I'm looking at now is just the fact that I might potentially want to pick up this Hercules and pursue something strong in that capacity. And then we also have Lancelot, and Lancelot's pretty cool because it will immediately activate with Gumblegore. And basically I'm just looking at these and saying, maybe we can get some treasures. I do still think that we're pretty strong, especially now that we lucked into this Echowood pickup and now have that treefecta that I was talking about. And this is more of an example, but I think this game really showcases both of these things well. Using your health as a resource and then using your advantage as a resource. We were pretty ahead of the rest of the lobby. We used that advantage as well as our HP to pick up some more polywoggles and try to get lucky in that capacity, and to pick up some XP as well, so that we could also try to press our luck in different ways. And ultimately, it is going to work out well for us. The Gumblegore is okay. The three big pigs brought us here. The Gumblegore, I mean, is okay in terms of its synergies with the tree builds. And then obviously the Echowood, our third little bit of luck here, though we've had a few different ways that we've pressed our luck in this game so far. Here, I'm going to do kind of an interesting play. We are going to go for the Lancelot and potentially the Hercules as well on the Gumblegore. Then I'm going to go for a True Love's Kiss on those three big pigs that we pollywoggled into a little bit ago. And that is why pressing your luck can pay off. We get an upgraded Echowood, which is absolute insanity, and then we roll and find another Burning Tree. Interestingly, I don't really need the Hercules to get plus 20 attack, but if it's not getting any bonus from the Gumblegore, it'll take 3 hits to find its treasure, so this means that it only needs 2 hits, and then obviously we're going to get that tier 5 treasure from Lancelot as soon as the combat starts. So this is another thing. I think that I'm really ahead as far as my trees are concerned. So I can use my Gumblegore along with these princes to try to find some more treasures. And that's kind of the whole idea. That is, at its core, what pressing your luck is all about. It's about taking your advantage that you got from getting lucky and turning that into additional advantages in other ways. And I think makes this a really fun game to look at here. So Hercules against the Ghost is going to be able to do some nice work as long as it can get attacked into one more time, which, assuming that's not going to be, too much of a problem. Oh, this is the Loki with the Phoenix Feather now and a Reduplicator as well. We are going to get that treasure from Hercules, so that is really good. And now we just have to deal with my opponent's Juliet in their backline, which is a little bit scary. It's a pretty big Juliet, but we have got enough stats here that we just barely get the win, and that's all you're looking for. Doesn't matter how much you get the win, especially against the Ghost, if you're able to use that time to also grab some treasures. So we'll grab this Hand of Midas, so that way we can grab an upgraded Burning Tree, and then we have to look at what else we want. We could take Wand of Weirding. It is not bad with the Gigantify in the shop, but I think that the Phoenix Feather is ultimately just going to be a safer pickup. So I'll go for that. We'll grab the Burning Tree. I'm going to go for the Gigantify on the Ashwood Elm. That's 50% more health. Oh, I've got to do it again because the other animation was playing through. Now I can get rid of these princes that we are playing with here, the Herculeses and such. And not really particularly interested in Robin Wood, just going to roll down, see what else we can find, and then I'll throw the Hercules back in. And now we are quite strong. Our Ashwood Elm is going to give plus 30 attack and health to both of the Burning Trees. The upgraded Burning Tree is going to wind up getting plus 60 health, so that's going to be 90 health on both Echowoods, or 180 health on the upgraded Echo Wood that will resummon with the Phoenix Feather. So that should be 182 health, all things considered. That's a pretty big unit. That is a bigger unit than my opponent's Wizard's Familiar, and should be enough to walk away from this one with a win, as long as we don't get Medusa'd. We have to attack into this Medusa here, but we do, so that is going to be a win. We'll get the Phoenix Feather, resummon, and hit my opponent for 9 damage, down to 11 with myself and the Share Bear. So everybody's on 11 except for this Peter Pants, and we are just looking for some more trees. However, we're not done pressing our luck just yet. There's still a few more ways that you can press your luck, especially with this trees comp. One of the reasons that I love completing Hercules and Lancelot is because then you can flip them with Shard of the Ice Queen, kind of full circle, the same way that this game initially started. If you hit an upgraded Ashwood Elm there, it is just insanity, and definitely worth going for, definitely worth pressing my luck in that way, because it doesn't really cost us anything. It was a free spell. It did cost our spell for the turn, but didn't cost us that much gold to take a look for an upgraded Ashwood Elm, and the potential upside of that was obviously huge. So we only get to play one non-tree unit, and we have to decide if we want to play the Gumblegore, or I think that we are going to be better off here playing the Doom Breath, and then I will put this Echo Wood in over the Gumblegore. It's kind of tough. You could also not play one of the Echo Woods or not play one of the Burning Trees, but I really like Doom Breath here because Peter Pants is very likely to have low health minions in the back row, those Spell Weavers that we can potentially get a nice 2-for-1 on with this Doom Breath. So let's see if that's the case. It looks like it could be. We're only going to get one of my opponent's ranged units. They did well to put their highest health ranged unit in the middle. That is going to help them some, but we are definitely still going to be able to take them down here. This is probably going to be a win. Honestly, it gets a little bit close, but the fact that we've got this Phoenix Feather is going to allow us to quite easily or comfortably get the win in the end and hit my opponent for 10 down to 17. So very, very close game here. Share Bear down to 1, and we roll a Drink Me Potion, potentially find some nice things here. And I'm going to go for a True Love's Kiss on the Lancelot. Another chance at either Echo Wood or Ashwood Elm, but it's definitely worth rolling the die there and taking a look. We're going to get another upgrade on Burning Tree, and Ambrosia is a pretty nice pickup from that one because that is going to upgrade the Ashwood Elm. We do have a Gigantify in the shop that on an upgraded Ashwood Elm is pretty tough to pass up. That's plus 20 attack on everything else, but I roll and wind up rolling into a Shard of the Ice Queen, which we can still use on this Bear Stain. So that I definitely think is worth locking for and worth pressing our luck one last time. Maybe we can get something sweet in that regard. But right now, the Ashwood Elm is going to upgrade into a 350, and then it will give both of the Burning Trees, it'll give everything, all of the other trees, plus 100 attack, which is plus 200 health on both Burning Trees. So now our Echo Woods are looking at 400 health and 800 health for the upgraded Echo Wood. So pretty nice stuff here, all things considered. My opponent plays around the Doom Breath quite well, but unfortunately not going to be well enough as our trees are just way too big. That is going to be the death of Share Bear here, and we are potentially on to the finals, depending on if Peter Pants or Potion Master can knock each other out. Now, that was a tough one because I did think Potion Master was going to win, but Peter Pants just had a bunch of health there, and it was going to be a close fight. So probably not going to be the last fight of the game. We'll pick up another Echo Wood, which is really fantastic, and at this point we're just rolling. We haven't changed any of our trees into good units, so unfortunately won't be able to make use of that. And then we do see another Gigantify, and yeah, all of this is looking pretty good. We're definitely going to want to put in this additional Echo Wood, probably just cutting the pumpkin over it, and then I might even just cut the Doom Breath as well and throw in the Gumblegore. We do have to consider like what my opponent is playing, and because they are potentially on a very similar comp, we might want to have this Doom Breath in the front row. Winds up not working out, but our trees are huge nonetheless, so not going to be too tough to find a win here, as long as we don't get scammed. My opponent does have a 9th Book of Merlin, which is a very, very good way to potentially try to press your luck. They scam 2 of our Echo Woods in the back line, so things are looking reasonable for them. We're going to get the Shrunken Echo Wood back with a Phoenix Feather, which is enough to find a win and a kill on the Potion Master. But really interesting way there too, from the Potion Master to press your luck, and apparently the Peter Pants went out to the Ghost. So fortunately that is going to be the end of this game and this video, but let me know what you guys think, if this was interesting content in terms of how it changed, like how you might think about Wonder Waddle, because obviously, well, shouldn't say obviously, I think a lot of people recognize that Wonder Waddle is one of the most powerful heroes in the game, and you might recognize that Wonder Waddle is also strong because, yes, it can hat ball. That's like the first level of Wonder Waddle, and then another pretty early level on is understanding the 3 blind mice, and then there's also the Polywoggle. But really, what makes Wonder Waddle, like if it was just one of those things, Wonder Waddle would still be a very, very good hero. But when it is all of them, and you give yourself the opportunity to pursue all of those different routes, you can wind up, I mean, listen, we didn't have any animals in our final comp, though arguably this is an animal, right? Because we got it off of an upgraded Polywoggle that we then True Loves kissed. So, and it was an animal after we Polywoggled into it. But this doesn't look anything like a typical Wonder Waddle board. And to some extent, because this is a trees game, and trees are probably going to be getting a small nerf soon, this might not be something that seems like immediately like you can just take this strategy and copy it. However, there's always going to be a best comp. There's always going to be something good. Maybe this isn't trees, but this is dwarves in some other scenarios. Now you won't be able to do like the Shard of the Ice Queen shenanigans that we were able to do in this game and try to find more trees, though that didn't actually wind up panning out. We didn't wind up sharding into anything really fantastic throughout the course of this game, but the important thing is that we tried. And if you keep trying, you know, you miss all the shots you don't take, shoot for the moon, you might land among the stars. My theory is like roll 200 die, and you're gonna get some 6s, you're gonna get some 20s, depending on what size of die you're rolling. If all you need is like 120 to win the game, roll 20 die, and then you might wind up rolling exactly what you need. That's gonna be it for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I'm NoLucksGiven. Peace.